Este es Ron con AnaComputers.com, otro video para ti hoy. I have before me an Acer Aspire E1-470P-6659 laptop with major problems. Customer dropped it off a few hours ago now. And it runs Windows 10 Home Edition. Windows 10 by default, you can't boot it up into safe mode without enabling that and then rebooting. So I'm going to run some scans with the Windows 10 normal mode, Home Edition. I have a USB flash drive, but the computer is either the operating system is corrupt or there's major malware, spyware viruses, because when I try to mount this, it doesn't detect it even though I know it's good. I downloaded the most recent versions of CCleaner, Malwarebytes, and SuperAntiSpyware on a separate desktop computer running Windows 10, and it mounts and dismounts just fine. So let me show you what happens. So this laptop has USB 3.0 ports. If you notice down in the lower right hand corner, it's got an error, USB device not recognized, blah 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 blah. Well, I know it's a good USB device because I just mounted it and dismounted it. It could be the operating system is corrupt, or like I said before, viruses, malware, spyware. So we can't use the USB stick. We can try, but it doesn't look like it's going to work. So what I can do now is download off the internet, but I'm going to have to connect this to the internet. I don't have it connected to the internet now because I was going to just run these programs off the USB flash drive. So that's a no-go. So what I can do is connect my device to the network. So I think I'll do that. Although you need to be cautious. If you've got a computer that has viruses, you can infect your entire network. So you need to be aware of that. But I've got two networks. I've got separate networks, so that I don't infect, one of my Windows 10 machines or a Windows machine. So let's see, I think I'll just hook up from my phone. Come on. Alright, so I had to take my phone Ethernet cable, and so it's on the other side. I don't know if this is going to reach. I might have to, I think it'll reach if I possibly. Ooh, that's pretty tight. Shoot. I don't know if it's going to reach. I might have to move the camera a little bit. It did reach, barely. I want to make sure you can see. Alright, so blah blah blah. I just click cancel here, or I'll just say no for now. And now we're gonna have to go to the internet, and let's see, I want to make sure that he doesn't how shall I do this? This is a customer's computer, so I want to make sure that he doesn't have any kind of okay. We'll just alright, I think we're safe. Customer privacy is very important. Okay, let me move this in a little bit and move this to the right. Alright, so we're gonna have to go to CCleaner and download the latest version. So we can just type in CCleaner here. See, the keys don't work. So there's something big, major problem with this computer. What I can do is, see, you have to press them more than once. It could be malware or spyware or virus. Okay, so we'll just This is going to take a lot longer now because I have to download all these apps. And I always use the portable version. Come on. See, he's got major problems here. Even browsing the internet is kind of slow. That's why I use a flash drive. Alright, so let's go to download, and then I'm gonna pick the portable version, which is down below at the very bottom. Or do we have to go to a different link? I think you have to go to a different link. Let's go up. We'll go to download, and then we'll just choose CCleaner, and there should be, oh, builds. It's under builds. So click that, and then there's a portable version. Not the installer. I don't want to install anything on this computer. The portable. It's only about 9 megabytes, so we'll download that. And I'll probably have to, there it goes. It's a zip file, and it's almost done. It's done, so we can go into File Manager. But before I go there, I don't want to show any customer data, so I'll just make sure I okay. So you have to unzip it, so just right click it and then unzip. Right click and then choose Extract All on Windows 10. And then click Extract, and then it'll take you to the, once it's done, it'll take you to the folder where the CCleaner is extracted. It's a zip file. And it's taking a long time. It's at 31%. So it's just further indication that there's major problems with this computer, and it has Windows 10. And if I was a betting man, it probably has viruses or malware or spyware. Windows 10 still gets viruses and malware. Okay, so it's done. So it takes you to this directory if you just choose the defaults when you extract. So we're just going to start it. We'll just start. We're going to start the CCleaner. We're going to run all these scans at once, but it might take longer because this computer, there's something wrong with it. It doesn't run very efficiently. Let me minimize that one. Okay, there we go. So I'll just maximize it, and I just click on Run Cleaner and say OK. It's a portable version, so it doesn't leave any footprints on his computer. It might take a while, especially on a computer that's either the hard drive, maybe, I don't think the hard drive is failing, but the hard drive might have bad sectors, or the Windows installation could be corrupt, or it has spyware, malware, and viruses, which can affect how other programs run. So let's go back to the internet, and we will download Malwarebytes, the most recent version. Come on. See, the keys don't always work. So I don't think it's the keyboard, because they do work. If none of the keys ever worked, or it could be drivers. Okay, so, but I'm going to try to salvage his computer. He says he only has important data, like, you know, favorites, but still, I'm still going to run these scans, and I'm going to see if I can salvage it. All it takes is a few malware or spyware or viruses to, you know, cause your computer to run terribly, or cause strange problems like the keys don't always work, or you have to press the keys more than once. You know what I'm saying? So we're at malwarebytes.com. We're just going to click on the free download button, and then it's downloading. It's a small file. Now sometimes computers get so infected, so bad, that you can't even download off the internet. That's when you have to use, you know, maybe a CD with virus software or a CD with Malwarebytes. That's when it's advantageous to boot into safe mode. But the knuckleheads at Microsoft decided to disable the advanced boot options menu for Windows 10. You cannot get into it by default. You have to enable it, but most users are not going to know that, and some may not know how to, or, but I'm not being condescending, or some may not want to have to go through and enable the advanced boot option so that you can hit the FA key and get into safe mode. And is it done? Yeah, it's done, but it was a slow download, and it took a while for it to finally complete the file. But it's done. So we can check on CCleaner. It's at 16%. Now we're going to go to downloads, but you know, because of sensitive data. Okay, let's see. Let me go back and we'll kick off the install. Okay, I can minimize that, and I can, come on. Well, okay, so you want to say yes at the user access control prompt. Back in the day, especially on Windows XP, man, you would get computers and it would be almost impossible to, you couldn't even, some computers were so bad that you couldn't even copy files from the USB flash drive. You notice how this computer wouldn't mount the USB flash drive? Yeah, that happened a lot back in the day with Windows XP, Vista, even Windows 7. But I would say generally my experiences with Windows 7 and Windows 10, I still have customers that get malware and spyware, but it's not as severe now. But this computer, it's pretty severe if it does have malware, spyware, and viruses, which I haven't seen a computer like this in a while. But I think it's definitely possible with Windows 10. So welcome to the Malwarebytes Setup Wizard. Agree and install. This is going to install the free version, the most current version of Malwarebytes, which is 3. Blah 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 blah, which is much better than the old 2.0. I really like Malwarebytes 3 compared to 2. It's a lot faster, at least the computers I've ran it on. Now, sometimes computers are so horribly infected that you can't even install software, or it's so slow it takes a long time. This is slower than normal, I would say, but it's installing, so you know, it's a good sign that I'll probably be able to salvage this computer so I don't have to reinstall the operating system. But if I have to, I will. The customer, a lot of times when my customers bring me the computer, one of the first questions they ask, besides how much I charge, is how long will it take? I never tell them, I never promise them anything, I never guarantee anything. I just tell them, well, it really depends on how badly infected your computer is, or the problem, or how long it takes to diagnose, or, you know, blah 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 blah. I tell them generally it takes a couple of days, but I can't guarantee anything. Okay, it's now complete, so this is a good sign. So we'll click finish, and we can then start a Malwarebytes scan at the same time as CCleaner. I've never had a problem running multiple scans at once. CCleaner, Malwarebytes, SuperAntiSpyware. I will even kick off a check disk, and I will even kick off an SFC scan all at once, because it saves me a lot of time. Otherwise, you have to wait for each, piece of software or each scan to complete. Okay, so I do not want the premium version, so I do not want the trial version, and I don't want to upgrade now. Okay, so we have to close Google Chrome. That's fine. So we're just gonna say it closed it, so no more internet for now. Okay, so let's go back here, and click close. I'm going to remove the software, but there is a way that you can enable it so that it is always free. You get the free version forever, otherwise you'd have the 14-day trial. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and kick off a scan, because I'm going to remove the software anyways, or I'll do it later. If you're interested, I have a video on my YouTube channel showing you how to enable the free version of Malwarebytes. For now, it has a 14-day free trial. Once it expires, there's no guarantees that you can activate the free version of Malwarebytes or remove Malwarebytes, install it, and then activate it again. Because of Windows registry, even on Windows 10, it gets mucked up, and software programs do not clean up after themselves on Windows 10. That's a fact. I've ran into that problem. But you got clowns on the internet that claim that Windows 10 is perfect and blah 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 blah, and you don't need to run CCleaner. Well, really, I don't need to run CCleaner on Windows 10. Well, look, it found 2 gigabytes on the first scan, 2,227 megabytes, which equates mathematically to 2.2 gigabytes. So I'm going to run the cleaner again until basically it doesn't find any more items to remove. So I'm going to just kick off a scan, just a basic scan, a quick scan, and we will find out pretty quick. Generally, what I've noticed is that these programs, even virus programs, if you have viruses or malware or spyware, it will find it pretty quick. There are some cases where the scan will run for like a half an hour towards the end of the scan, and it will find items. But generally, when I run these scans, if you've got malware, see, it'll find it pretty quick. But we'll find out. So far it hasn't found any threats yet, but we'll give it a few. I'm not gonna sit here and videograph the entire scans because they could take a while. But I just wanted to show you how I kick off. Now this one was fast. You notice how the second CCleaner scan was quick? So I'm going to run it again. And then I'm going to run a registry scan. But you're going to have the shills or whoever that will tell you not to run a registry scan on Windows 10 or with CCleaner. No. I've used CCleaner for over a decade. I've never had a problem running the clean scan, and I've never had a problem running a registry scan. If you're paranoid or if you're concerned, just back up the registry database. That's all you have to do. It's as if these clowns with, 100,000, 200,000, 700,000 subscribers, either they're, I don't know if it goes to their head, or they don't want you to learn how to fix computer issues. They don't want you to learn, although they tell you that they're here to help you. I'm not going to run the scan again because it could be an infinite loop. But I've noticed with CCleaner, sometimes you have to run it 3 or more times before you get to where it doesn't find anything. So I'm going to click on registry and click on scan for issues, then click on fix selected items. Now what you can do is you can back up the registry, and we'll just say yes, because there will be trolls, but I do not allow comments anymore. Leave your questions, or questions singular or questions plural, via the link in the description box of this video. So I'll just say yes, and it'll save it under documents. That's fine. And if I have any problems with CCleaner, I can always restore the registry database. But you know what? I've been using CCleaner over a decade, and I've never had to restore the registry database because CCleaner has never fucked up a computer when I ran a registry scan. Look at how many items it found. Malware and spyware and viruses can add registry entries, and that's a fact. When I worked for IBM, some of the technicians, it depended on the Avaya account. I worked at Avaya which is Lucent. Those technicians used to manually go into the registry to remove viruses or malware or spyware. They also used programs like Malwarebytes back then, or CCleaner, but sometimes you had to go and manually into the registry, but you have to know what you're doing. So this whole nonsense that don't use CCleaner to, scan the registry is absurd. Fix all selected issues. There. Then I run it again. It found some more items. Okay. It's still not done yet. Wow. I'm not sure what the problem is. It's strange. The second scan is taking longer than the first. But I backed up the registry database, but I've never ever had a problem with CCleaner and the registry scan. Never, not once. You know what I'm saying? This time it's just slow. I'm not sure why that is. It looks like it found a lot more items though. Okay, now it's done. Alright, well that's cool. So I'm not going to back it up. But I could just, who cares about the trolls? I'm just going to say no. I already backed it up once. Alright, it found 74 items this time. So I'm going to click on Fix All Selected Issues. I'm going to run it a third time. I've also noticed with CCleaner, a lot of times you have to run the registry scan more than once. Eventually, it won't find any items, and then I quit. So the second and third scan are taking longer than I'm usually accustomed to. Okay, let's check out Malwarebytes. Did it find anything? Nope, it didn't. Okay, well, it could have viruses on it, or it could have a corrupt file system, or maybe there's a problem with the hard drive. We shall find out. Okay, so no malware was found. I'm not going to do a more thorough scan because it didn't find anything. But I have other programs that I use. So we'll close that. Okay, this only found one object, so we'll say no. We'll fix the issue and then click close, and I'll run it one more time. And what we can do now after this is we can go and download SuperAntiSpyware, and then I might even run combo fix, because sometimes combo fix and or SuperAntiSpyware will find objects that Malwarebytes will not find. Let's go to the internet now, because oops. And sometimes even browsing the internet is almost impossible on a computer that has a shitload of malware, spyware, viruses. Let's go to SuperAntiSpyware. Oh, if you know it, check this out. Look, I'm gonna type these Q. Look. Oops. The U. Did the U stick? Okay, how about the L? Oh, the M. The M is sticking. Okay, some of them are still sticking. But most of the keys now work. I'm not sure why the M... That could be a hardware issue, or it could be drivers. Okay, so let's download SuperAntiSpyware. And we'll run this scan. And let's see, scroll down. Free edition. I just use the free edition. You can use the paid versions of these programs if you want. I'm just showing you how to run these scans, you know what I'm saying? Alright, so it's finished downloading, and once again, because of privacy, I don't want to have to remove the data for him. Right now I don't feel like it. Okay, so at the user account control, say yes. I don't want to have to move any files because I want to keep this computer the way it is, because I might be able to salvage it without, moving files. Oops. I agree. I just accept the defaults whenever I install these software programs. I don't think SuperAntiSpyware has a portable version. Malwarebytes does not, and I don't think SuperAntiSpyware has a portable version of their program. Okay, let's see. Nope. Uncheck that. The rest is default. And finished. And then you might notice it down in the tray. I do not want to start the trial because it will expire, and like I said before, there is no guarantees that you will be able to remove these programs and then reinstall them to get the trial again or to get the free version, especially if you've got individuals on the internet, on YouTube, telling you not to run a registry scan. These programs do not clean up after themselves, even on Windows 10. That's why it's a good idea to run a registry scan to clean up the old registry entries so that you can reinstall the program and then use another trial or get the free version to remain permanent. These technology companies play games. They do this intentionally. They don't want you to figure out that you can install the software and use the free version almost forever. That's why they have trial versions, or that's why they make it difficult to enable it. Or, nowadays, most software now, they allow you to install the free trial, but they don't tell you and show you how to enable the free version. Okay, so let's kick off a scan. I'm just going to accept the defaults, and I'm just going to run a quick scan for now. Malwarebytes didn't find anything, but it doesn't mean the SuperAntiSpyware won't find anything. Now another thing I do is I run system scans. So we're going to right click and then I noticed this on some Windows 10 versions, the command prompt is missing in the menu. It only has the PowerShell, which is different. So we're just going to use Cortana. Say no, I didn't want to start that. I'm just going to type in CMD. Oops. The C didn't. CM. The M is sticking. It could be a bad keyboard, or it could be drivers. Another thing you can do is you can reseat the keyboard. If I do that, I will make a video showing you how to reseat the keyboard on this computer. Run as administrator. Say yes. And then we'll just SFC space / scan now. Oops. Not all these keys are working. Alright. Looks like the C and the M don't always work. You have to press them down more than once, or you have to... Okay, now check this out. This found 515 items, but they are tracking cookies. They're adware. So this computer might not be infected. Now if you notice, the SFC scan is kind of taking a long time. It's slower than normal to me. but I'm still going to run it. And I'm going to run a check disk scan, but I can't do it. But I'll show you how to kick it off. Go into command prompt, and then, yeah, the M key does not work without hitting it twice. Well, there's something wrong. Yeah, it's getting annoying. Alright, and then right click it and run it as an administrator, and then say yes, and a new window opens. And I always run check disk scans anyways for my customers. Even generally, if I have enough time, I do it because it's part of proper maintenance. You could run a check disk scan yourself, and I recommend that you do that. I recommend that you learn how to run an SFC scan and a check disk scan, and you could incorporate that as part of your computer maintenance once a month or whenever you have time. You can also run a Malwarebytes scan once a month or whenever you have time. Your virus, you need to run a virus scan periodically, and that's just part of proper computer maintenance. So it's CHK DSK C:, and then let's see, just C and then space /F space /R. That is a comprehensive check disk scan that takes longer than just if I use the /F. That's going to check for files, and it's going to check to see if there's bad sectors. And if the check disk scan notices that there are bad sectors, what it will do, it will try to move the data to good sectors if it can. It takes a longer time. It could double the time if you're dealing with a hard drive that is failing or has bad sectors. The scan could take hours, but it's well worth it. So I'm going to hit enter. It's going to warn me that the volume is in use, and I'm going to say yes. What this does, and then hit enter. Now the next time I reboot this computer, check disk scan will kick off. Now on computers that are infected with viruses, malware, spyware, or the hard drive is failing, or the hard drive has bad sectors, it may not kick off. But what you can do is you go into Windows, run the command again, say yes, reboot the computer, and it should kick off. Sometimes you have to do it 2 or 3 times on a computer that's having problems, but generally check disk will kick off by itself. So all I have to do is reboot the computer, but I'm not going to do it now, obviously, because I'm running an SFC scan. Also, a good tip is to run an SFC scan 3 times. Sometimes these Microsoft scans don't work the best the first time, or even with CCleaner. So generally I run the SFC scan 3 times to make sure, to see if it'll find the SFC stands for System File Check. It checks Windows 10 system files and tries to detect if the files are corrupt. If it detects that one or more of the system files are corrupt, it will replace them with good system files on the hard drive. And you could run this scan as part of your regular maintenance. Windows is not perfect. Windows 10 is far from perfect. It has just as many problems as previous operating systems. Although when it comes to viruses, malware, and spyware, it doesn't seem to get as many, but it does get viruses. But that does not mean that the hard drive is not going to fail. It does not mean that the hard drive will not have bad sectors. And so it's like an auto mechanic. You want to change the oil in your car. You want to flush the radiator. You want to make sure that the belts are acceptable. If you have a bad belt, you replace the belt. A tune-up is apropos on a vehicle. Changing the spark plugs. That's regular vehicle maintenance that almost every vehicle has to have done. Computers are no different. They just work differently. It's very abstract. But if you do not, if you ignore your computer maintenance, one day you wake up and your computer is fucking up, or the keys aren't working, or it's sluggish, or it's slow, or it freezes up and you have to reboot, or you have to do a cold boot. It seems like the SFC scan is still kind of slower than normal, but I'm going to leave at that. So, let's go back to SuperAntiSpyware. It detected 515 items, but they, I think, were all adware. Excuse me, cookies, which is considered adware. So I'm going to click continue, and what you do is make sure that all of them are selected, which they are. You can look at them. They're all tracking cookies. I'm still going to remove them though, because if I salvage this computer, meaning I don't have to reinstall the operating system, then I've performed maintenance for my customer, and he doesn't have to do all this, and he's got a cleaned up for Windows 10. Look at how much data I removed with CCleaner, over 2 gigs. That alone will make the computer run better. If the computer has a failed hard drive or failings or bad sectors, that's not going to fix that problem. Or if the computer does have viruses that maybe Combo Fix will detect, but SuperAntiSpyware, malware or spyware that Malwarebytes or SuperAntiSpyware won't detect, but Combo Fix will detect, well, that's a different issue. Okay, so I'm going to click on continue. SuperAntiSpyware, I'm going to say yes. SuperAntiSpyware cannot clean tracking cookies while your internet browser is running. You can close your browsers manually, or do you want SuperAntiSpyware to close your browser? I'm going to say yes. And it's going to take a little while, because it has to go in and remove all these items. It has to, quarantine or remove them. I prefer to remove items. Some technicians prefer to quarantine items first and then remove them, or they just quarantine items. Me, as a technician with my experience, I just prefer to remove the items. Just get rid of them. But it's just up to you, whatever you want to do. I've never really had that many problems when I've removed viruses or removed items versus quarantining. The word quarantine in the computer linguistics language is similar to in the health industry. When somebody is sick and the society, because of communism and groupthink and collectivism, doesn't want that person to infect the rest of the group, they quarantine that individual, meaning they remove them from society. They put them down in the basement. They put them in your mother's basement. And, they fumigate the room, and they make the individual wear a NASA spacesuit, and they even put him in a bubble, and, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so this is complete. And SuperAntiSpyware, I don't run a second scan. Malwarebytes, I do not run a second scan. They're pretty accurate. I've never noticed that by running a second scan, all of a sudden now Malwarebytes found the items. Or, after the second or third scan, now SuperAntiSpyware found the items. The next piece of software I run is Combo Fix. This is still slow to me. It's only at 35%. So what we can do is we can go back out on the internet, and then I need to run. I'm hungry, and I just need to run. We can go and choose Google Chrome, and we're going to go out and install Combo Fix. Now, you need to know what you're doing with these programs, but that does not mean that you can't learn. You can take an old computer that you don't give a fuck, or it doesn't have important data, and you can test CCleaner. You can run a registry scan just so that you know what you're doing. I'm not going to restore the pages. What I'm going to do is we're going to go to Combo Fix, which is created by Bleeping Computer. Those bleep at, bleep. Now, with Combo Fix, you need to be aware that there are fake versions of Combo Fix. You want to always go to bleepingcomputer.com. Don't download Combo Fix from another website, because it's very possible that it's the nefarious version. Now, Malwarebytes and CCleaner, there could be fake versions of those, but I haven't heard really that many problems about those, but for whatever reason, there are fake versions of Combo Fix that could include, you know, malware, spyware in them, or even a virus. I have heard that one. I'm not sure why that is. So click on the, again, we're at bleepingcomputer.com. That's another thing you can do to learn is, you know, is only download software from legitimate sources. That's another way to avoid getting... I don't like how they have this dumb video that autoplays. God damn it. No, 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 this can't be because I don't want to get a copyright strike. I don't want a copyright strike. Alright. It's downloading. Chrome didn't shut down correctly. I don't care. I'm not sure why it's taking so long. The download I'm not sure. Let's click pause and let's click resume. Oh, okay. Even that seems slow. On Windows-based computers, software will download, and then it takes an additional, you know, a couple seconds for the file to, I think, get moved from temp or from your cache to the final destination. You may not be able to notice it, I do, but on a computer that's having problems, I definitely noticed that. Alright, so let's go, and it's downloaded. So I'm just going to click Chrome, close Chrome, and then because of, you know, I want to have to remove their data. Okay, so you're going to get the user account control again, so say yes. And then let's minimize that. Okay. Say yes at the user account control. Oh, look at this. This operating system is not supported. Combo Fix only runs on Windows XP, Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, and I thought they supported Windows 10, but maybe they don't. I'm going to have to research that. I thought I ran this on Windows 10 before, but maybe not. If that is true, then I cannot use Combo Fix, or maybe they have a version somewhere on their website that is beta. I don't recommend beta or alpha, but I'll have to research that further. But it looks like my video is coming to an end. So that's all I do when I, you know, get a computer that I think has viruses. This is still taking a long time. It's only at 47% the SFC scan. So, you know, I'm going to bid you goodbye. And then I'll make another video when, if I cannot fix this computer with a check disk scan, I'll make another video when I reinstall Windows 10 if I have to, and I'll make another video if it's not a driver's issue, showing you how to reseat the keyboard. And I'll make a video showing you how to reseat the keyboard on this laptop. You have to take it apart. And then I will make a video showing you how to kind of troubleshoot a possible failing laptop keyboard, because it looks like the C key and the M key, they're either sticking, they're failing, because I push down once and I have to either hold down the key or I have to press it a second time, and that's obviously not normal. Adios.